mean, as far as cardio, if I can ask you, are you more of a fan of or supporter of doing time, like focusing on time, or having a set number of calories to hit for each session?
Yeah, during prep, I'm really of a really, I don't want to say like a type A personality, but I do really good with like being able to fixate on numbers and like, I mean, macros is probably a big reason for that. So I think we talked about this before. I wouldn't really even have like, okay, this session's 400, this session's 500 calories. I would have like a weekly cardio calorie allotment. So I wouldn't have like 2 hours of cardio throughout the week. It would be like 1,500 calories burned from cardio. And how accurate that's going to be is really going to be dependent on, you know, the machine you're using and things like that. And I've seen a lot of research things that those things can be really like off by quite a bit. So my recommendations for a lot of people, you know, just if you're in contest prep, if not, just pick a machine and go for it. You know, enter your weight and try to be as close as you can. But if you're in contest prep, as those last few weeks, I just try to do the same machine. So that way, if I knew if it was incorrect, it was hopefully at least consistently incorrect. So that when I made adjustments, I would be dealing with, you know, apples and apples, not elliptical and treadmill and step mill. You see what I'm saying? But that's how I do it with the few people that I work with. They don't even have a daily cardio recommendation. It's usually just a specific amount of calories for the week, and then I'll give them a minimal amount of sessions. So like if someone has to have 1,500 calories of cardio burn that week, I won't say just do that, and then, you know, most people have common sense where I'm not going to do it just in one day, but I'll do it, say like, okay, 1,500 calories in at least 3 cardio sessions. So if they wanted to do, you know, 3 sessions of 500, and then, or maybe, you know, 5 sessions of 300, you know, however they want to, you know, divide it up is fine with me. And then the last few weeks I might get a little bit anal with them as far as when to do it, but for the most part, I go with a calorie allotment. And another big reason why I do that is to kind of let them judge the intensity, because I know during my contest prep, there were some days where I could just kind of bust through my cardio. So if my goal was 400 calories that day and I felt really good, then I can kind of increase the intensity and get through it in, you know, 20 or 25 minutes. But kind of, you know, contrast to that, if you feel like crap, I wouldn't tell people to go with that same intensity. You know, you still have to burn those 400 calories, but there's nothing wrong with, you know, scaling it back a little bit and it taking you 30, 35, 40 minutes to get that same amount of work done. So again, it gives the person a little more freedom as opposed to just a time limit. And yeah, I would say I wouldn't really recommend tracking time unless you're like in the off season, like I am now, where I just do one low intensity session of 20 to 30 minutes a week, because I'm not really focused on maximizing my fat loss, obviously. But I think that tracking calories burned from cardio is probably a little more accurate than doing simply time. And then considering HIIT, I would just have HIIT be like consistent. So have like 5 rounds or something, you know what I mean? Because you can't really quantify your calories burned from HIIT, you know,
Right.
either during or after. So you really can't justify that with calories.
Or if anything, I'd say sometimes, I mean, if someone were to ask, oh, hey, should I go for calories burned? I mean, I kind of leave it up to them. So if they were looking to say, but I mean, the calories burned during HIIT would be substantially lower than their HIIT session or their LISS session,
Yeah.
for example. So if they were burning, let's say, you know, 375 on LISS, they would only shoot for, let's say, 200. And of course, it'd be broken into rounds, or
Yeah.
maybe 150, just something very minimal, since pretty much all the research does show that any calories or majority of calories burned after HIIT are typically after the workout.
Yeah. Epoch.
Epoch, Tupac.
And Epoch, I think, has been blown up, by the way. Not to get on a side rant, but I've seen research conflicting both ways, but I think a lot of the mainstream people think it's like this, you know, you do 10 minutes of HIIT and you just burn like an extra 1,000 calories throughout the day. You know, it's really not that big of a deal, I don't think.
I mean, I think honestly both ways, both HIIT and LISS can be used in conjunction for fat loss. But again, HIIT is just like you said, one of those bullets that should be utilized later on since it's more just overall demanding.
Yeah, it's HIIT during. I do more. Like I have a. Well, I haven't talked about this in my videos yet, but I've just been really experimenting with like barbell complexes. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but it's pretty much a form of HIIT that I find a little bit better for me because I'm not really a big like sprinter anymore. I ran track and things like played basketball, but I'm not a big fan of just like going on dead sprints. And I think doing something like a barbell complex is probably you probably get equal kind of caloric burn, but it's not so demanding on things like joints as running up a hill and car pushes and things like that, which again, and prowlers, which are effective, but you really have to take into consideration not just the calories burned with those, but how that's like hindering your recovery. And I kind of even got like a little bit injured doing sprints during my contest prep. So if you just think about it, going on a dead sprint when you feel like crap once a week during contest prep isn't always the best scenario for most people, especially when most people doing bodybuilding haven't really been introduced to proper running techniques and things like that. So when you tell them to quote unquote go all out, there's a big area for injury there.
Agreed.